Recording in progress.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session for Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. It's 9:05 a.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. All other commissioners are virtual but present, and we have County Manager Leonard Hernandez, Assistant County Managers Jennifer Walker and Josh Cummings here, and Clerk of the Board Amy Davis. Meeting is being live streamed to the Thurston County YouTube channel. Written public comment may be received up to 2 hours in advance of the meeting and distributed to the board. Action may be taken at this meeting. So we're going to look at the first review of the February 17th, 2026 business agenda as our first item of business. It's got quite a few items. So we'll start up at the top with calling the meeting to order, Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Grant, land acknowledgement, approval of agenda. Those are standing items. We will have a presentation related to African American Heritage Month.
Morning, Commissioners. For this month's proclamation for African American Heritage Month, we are focusing on business owners in the county. So we will have a group of local business owners who will come and share their stories with us.
Okay, cool. Any questions for Clerk on the presentation? And we'll have a recess, correct?
Recess and a photo. Yes.
Okay, very good. Public comment related to agenda items, County Manager update.
I don't have any updates to report at this time, but if that changes, I'll let you know by next week.
Okay, very good. Consent item, there are 22 proposed. Number 1 is request for qualifications and quotes for commercial real estate brokerage services.
Good morning, Kim.
Good morning. Kim Burnett, Director, Central Services. We're requesting authorization to allow myself, the Director of Central Services, to execute and advertise requests for qualification and quotes to solicit commercial real estate brokerage services and to select a successful proposer. We are also requesting authorization to negotiate and execute the contract for services for the term of 3 years, May 1st, 2026 through April 30th, 2029. We've developed a strategy to use commercial real estate brokerage services to market properties, provide in-depth analysis on the value of current properties, review lease rates, and represent the county's interest in any purchase and sales transactions. The broker would also assist the county in obtaining the highest possible value on our real estate investments by soliciting buyers who are financially qualified and would ensure the county is represented when entering into any additional purchase or sales agreements. The broker is also responsible for conducting media advertising, listing the properties on the multiple listing service, the MLS, or using any other methods available to brokers to advertise property. And they will perform activities expected from a qualified broker in the industry to sell county properties and to potentially purchase additional properties. We respectfully request approval of this item, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
3-year term, is that the same term that we've used in the past?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions for Kim?
I have no questions.
And then I guess the other question is, this is just like we pay on an as-needed basis.
Correct. Yes, there's no dollar value associated.
It's just securing the relationship.
Correct. Correct.
But we've used them a lot.
Yes, we have used them a lot.
All right. If there's no other questions, we can move on to item 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2 is CPED, and it's an interlocal agreement with TRPC, or the Thurston Regional Planning Council, related to the Boundary Review Board.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is the first
Mayor?
of you.
Yes, Commissioner Mejia?
So sorry to interrupt. I thought Commissioner Fournier said he had questions on the last item.
I thought he said no questions.
I said I have no questions.
Oh, I thought you said you had. Sorry, I apologize. I was late.
Oh, good morning, Commissioners. This is the first of a few items for CPED. An e-brief was sent out January 5th regarding some standard contracts that we are bringing forward to you at this meeting. So the first one is an interlocal agreement with Thurston Regional Planning Council, and this is to fund the Boundary Review Board clerk services that they provide. This is required under state law, and we have historically contracted with TRPC for these services. The current contract would cover a 5-year period for an annual amount of up to $20,000. We only pay if they actually provide services on an annexation and or a merger. So the primary project that's going before them here in the near term is the Yelm annexation, which the board approved the ILA for at the end of last year. Happy to answer any questions about boundary review boards or this particular contract.
Any questions on the boundary review board contract? We'll go on to the next CPED item, which is intergovernmental services contract for South Sound Green.
Yeah, so this is the first of two contracts for the regional stormwater education and outreach partnerships that we hold with our North County cities. This one in particular also includes the Thurston Conservation District, and it provides K through 12 environmental education throughout the county. The contract is for 5 years, and our portion of that contract amount is $66,432. This amount has been allocated as part of the budget that was approved last year. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
This is something that's required under our permit, is that correct?
Yes, so stormwater education and outreach is required under our MPDS Phase 2 permit. And so this, along with the following contract, are two of the primary ways that we fulfill those requirements. And we do it in partnership with the cities, which makes our dollars go a lot further.
And our dollars are from our stormwater fees?
Stormwater fund, so they are not general funded.
Okay. Other questions for the board, from the board? Okay. Very good. Then the next one is connected, you say?
Well, it's fulfills similar requirements under the stormwater permit. So this is our Regional Environmental Education Partnership ILA. This is just an amendment to an existing agreement. We are welcoming Yelm into the fold, which is really exciting to get more South County outreach. And then we're also reducing our contribution by $10,000, and this is actually one of the budget reductions that was part of our proposal for the budget last year.
Okay, it's an agreement. What is it doing exactly? It's not to like the other one with South Sound Green.
So this is REAP.
The jurisdiction.
So this is like Stream Team is probably the most common name that people hear, but it's basically a collection of programs that we run with the North County cities and now Yelm to provide education and outreach. And so there's newsletters, they organize like salmon stewards, like a lot of things come under this fold.
And Yelm is part of it. I'm remembering hearing that they like qualify now because of a certain size or, okay.
Yep, so we're welcoming into the fold. They have started attending the meetings. And so this is an amendment to catch the contract up to the relationship.
And I'm assuming just gonna ask, the reduction of our contribution doesn't put us out of compliance with requirements that we have to.
No, our education outreach team was really strategic with where those reductions are gonna take place. And actually with Yelm joining the fold, overall, the contract still has more money in it. So our piece won't have an adverse impact.
Other questions for Ashley? Okay, we'll go on to item 5, also CPED, request for qualifications and quotes for Puget Sound Salmon Recovery Grants Consultant.
Yeah, so this item is tied to actually a package of salmon recovery grants that show up as a department item later on the agenda in the amount of about $500,000. So we have received 2 salmon recovery grants over the last 2 funding cycles that Commerce bundled for us. And this request for quotes and qualifications would support the work of those 2 grants, primarily in the areas of facilitation and basically pulling people together, background research and facilitation in support of those 2 projects. And I can touch on those now, or I can wait till the department item.
Okay, I guess we'll get there. So this is something new that we've not had before?
The grants or the RFQs?
The grant consultant?
This
is an RFQ for?
Yeah, so we don't have an on-call services in place. So this essentially will set up a group of consultants that can fulfill different tasks associated with those 2 grants.
Okay. So it's connected to deploying the money that we're receiving.
Yes.
Those 2 grants.
Yeah, and so the rest of the funds will go directly to supporting staff time, but we just want to make sure that we can meet all of the grant requirements. So this will help us if there's a gap in our ability to fulfill the task.
Okay, any questions on that item? All right, we'll move forward to item 6, which is emergency services. Resolution for 2026 private ambulance business license renewal.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Ben Miller-Todd. I'm remote today. With that, honestly, the item description kind of covered almost all of my talking points. This is just a revalidation of our 3 private ambulance services within the county. The Operations Committee unanimously approved these applications and are in front of the board for approval.
Is this the one where I remember joking back in the day with Commissioner Hutchings and Edwards, like it was like $50? And then we increased it to $100.
Yep.
Sort of a joke that, you know, how kind of small the fees were
Yep.
for that. That's what we're talking about here?
Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about here, and it is still maintained at $100 each.
All right, see, I got a good memory of that. All right, any questions for Ben? All right, thank you. We'll move on to IT, item 7. Agreement with Department of Retirement Systems for auditing.
Good morning, Sherry Ilg, IT Director. Thurston County participates in the state's retirement system. And because of that, we are subject to WAC 415117030, which says every employer participating in one or more of the retirement systems is required to fully cooperate in the administration audit of the retirement systems. Each year, they select employers to do an audit. This year, they've selected Thurston County. So we need to sign a data sharing agreement with Department of Retirement Systems and their vendor, UHY LLP Certified Accountants, to share data with them until December 31st.
This is part of our state audit?
It is part of the Department of Retirement Systems audit. Tara's here if you have additional questions about it.
I was gonna add, this is a significant workload. I appreciate Maria and Tara taking this on. It's not something that necessarily we asked for or required to do this. But it is important to note that in everything else that HR has going on, they have this level of audit that they're working through, and it's an important audit, but it requires lots of interaction, lots of information gathering, reporting out. That's important because it does impact the HR IT's ability to look at other audits that we would be wanting to look at internally. Is there anything you want to add?
This is a fairly standard audit. The DRS, like Sherry mentioned, they audit certain DRS covered agencies every year. I think my first 3 years at the county, we were audited every single year with different types of audits because they're not all the same either. This is a fairly standard one. They want to know compensation, detailed compensation for all employees. They want the list of what we consider reportable compensation, so that's subject to retirement. They're gonna look at that and make sure that we're reporting what truly is reportable compensation under the statutes. Making sure that both the county and the employees are paying the appropriate premiums based on the rate at the time that the compensation was earned and information like that.
I'll just add that the county is super fortunate to have Tara in the position that she's in. There is not a lot of folks in this organization that can do the work that she can do. So you can imagine when there was a weird rumor that she was retiring that started to get spread around.
It was a panic, is what it was. It was a panic.
I was in Maria's office
It was a pretty
going,
good idea.
"Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "What? She's not retiring." But there is a lot that Tara does behind the scenes. No organization can exist without hardworking men and women that do a lot of technical work behind the scenes. And Tara's one of our all-stars. That day in and day out is delivering information, reports, working through, and is part of the team that is helping us improve TC Connect and make that a more responsive system. So we appreciate all your hard work. You're not up here very often, so I thought I'd do that.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Awesome, okay, any questions for Tara or Sherry or the team? Commissioner?
Thank you, Tara.
Thanks.
Awesome, okay, thank you. Next up is item 8, contracts with subrecipients for 2025 CDBG or Community Development Block Grant Public Services. Public Health and Social Services, Dr. Freiheit.
Hello, Jen Freiheit, Director of Public Health and Social Services. Thank you. And this is a request to approve the contracts for the subrecipients of the 2025 CDBG or Community Development Block Grant funding for the following 4 entities. The Boys and Girls Club of Thurston County for scholarships for youth of low to moderate family income at the Rochester Club in the amount of $16,895.82. Roof or Rochester Organization of Families for their Kids Place after school and summer program in the amount of $16,973.92. Senior Services of South Sound for their home share program in the amount of $10,413.45. And finally, the Tenino Community Center Services for their senior low-income shut-in home delivery service in the amount of $26,475. And the Board of County Commissioners approved the recommended funding awards at their June 17th, 2025 meeting. And a grant agreement for the CDBG funding was fully executed by Thurston County and HUD in December of 2025. And that is why they are now finally able to come to you for approval. Happy to answer any questions.
This is added up to like $70,000 or something, which is not, it's just, I mean, these are just a piece of the total.
Correct.
Just that's coming because of the timing that you described.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Fournier.
I was gonna kind of comment on it. This is just, Miranda, this is just a portion of the overall CDBG grant, which is a much larger portion, and a percentage of it goes to services. And just as another reminder, this comes as a recommendation to the board from the South County mayors and myself, the South County board representative.
Any other questions for Commissioner Fournier or Dr. Freiheit?
Chair, I'll just add that this represents a lot of outreach and a lot of work by our public health and social services staff. And I see Alex in the audience. We appreciate all the outreach that's done and the connectivity, working with various groups to help them with their applications. It's not always an easy process. CDBG, federally funded program, it can be complicated at times, but the expertise, we hear lots of positive reports from our partners about the engagement from your team. So thank you, Dr. Craig.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Public Works, several items. Item 9, cooperative contracts estimated to exceed $50,000.
Good morning. Karen Weiss, Public Works Director.
Matt Unselman, County Engineer.
You mentioned we have 5 items up. 3 of those are housekeeping items that we bring forward annually. So the first one is, an item that we bring that provides Public Works a mechanism for purchasing materials, supplies, equipment, and services that support our maintenance activities, including preservation and maintenance of our roads, cleaning and repair of our drainage system, road striping, and supplies for other event responses. For cost and procurement efficiency, we routinely purchase products and services through cooperative purchasing procedures, which piggyback off our Department of Enterprise Services or another agency's master contracts. And in alignment with our county's procurement policy, those orders through cooperative purchasing agreements that exceed $50,000 annually must be approved by the board. So we've compiled a list of goods and services such as salt, rock, paint beads, traffic paint, et cetera, that we're likely to buy through cooperative purchasing in 2026 that may exceed $50,000 over the year. These costs will be managed within our annual budget allocations, and so we are requesting the board approve the authorization for Public Works to execute orders for these goods and services as needed using cooperative purchasing.
So is this like a 2026 thing, or is this like a policy change that will be ongoing year after year?
We need to bring these year after year because it's based on your cumulative amount spent within that calendar year per our procurement policy.
Okay.
And so we don't know what our total amount will be for the year, but we need to be able to buy these as we obviously have the need for those services and equipment and materials. And so these are estimates of those items that would reach that threshold. So we're asking for that approval as we need them to purchase them.
Is this a new process to do it this way, or we've done this?
We brought this new process as of last year. So this is the second year we brought it forward to the board.
And Karen, rather than wait until you're meeting materials right on the spot, which then could create delays to projects or to service or, to helping our citizens, you're doing this proactively early in the year, knowing that you will
Correct.
almost guaranteed spend over the 50,000,
Absolutely.
working to get board approval so that you have a pathway forward following our procurement process.
Exactly.
Other questions? Hearing none, we'll go to the next item. Resolution call for sealed bids for furnishing a supply of various asphalt materials.
So similarly, but a little bit different, this is another item we bring annually to the board. This provides authority to release a call for sealed bids to furnish various asphalt materials that we always need for annual road maintenance work. The purpose is to secure the best unit cost for each material for the time frame. It will go from May 1st of 2026 through April 30th of 2027. And any resulting contracts from this call for sealed bids will be brought before the board for approval.
Any questions on asphalt materials? Hearing none, we'll go to item 11.
It's all the glamorous things we can buy.
RFQ for progressive design build services for Thurston County Wharf reconfiguration.
This is not a housekeeping
Sounds more
item. This is
exciting.
pretty exciting, actually. So it's the next step in our Waste and Recovery Center reconfiguration project, or the WARC, again, as we like to call it. And just again, for contextual background, the Waste and Recovery Center in Hawks Prairie is the primary solid waste disposal facility in Thurston County. It serves both commercial and residential customers, and all solid waste generated in the county is processed for final disposal at the Waste and Recovery Center. This facility was built almost 30 years ago, and it is not designed to address current capacity and growth needs. So we have a project that will reconfigure and expand the work to address ongoing maintenance issues, improve customer access, and reduce queue lines. I love that word queue, I don't know why. And improve safety by reducing interactions between residential and commercial traffic. So this is a $25 million plus project, and it's complex because the project, we will need to maintain safety and business continuity throughout the project during construction. So to address these needs, we've selected a progressive design build delivery method for design and construction. For this project, it's where a single entity known as the design builder is responsible for both the design and the construction of the project, and that is an enhancement in terms of collaboration and communication and coordination between the teams, including the project owner. So today's action will authorize Public Works to issue a request for qualifications, or an RFQ, for the design build services for this project, and it's a three-step process. So in step one, we'll release the RFQ, and we'll evaluate multiple firms based on their qualifications per the established requirements in the RFQ. Up to 4 teams will be selected to move forward to step two, and in step two, we will request a management plan and a fee proposal through an RFP process. And the top candidates will be interviewed and scored based on established criteria. And then in step three, based on those combined scores, we'll enter negotiations for a contract with the highest rated firm. We would bring that forward to the board at that point for approval. We hope that will all take place by August of 2026. And then in a corollary note, I know I'm using lots of words, but we have submitted our application to the Department of Enterprise Services Project Review Committee, who is responsible for approving our approach, our progressive design build approach, and they are scheduled to meet on February 26th to review the application. And so with today's action, we'll be ready to send out our RFQ when that's approved.
Good job queuing this up.
Thank you.
What, kind of a high level question on the design build and the state overseeing that? Like, what would cause them to say, no, we're not approving it? Like,
So my understanding is that they have only not approved two applications in the past. And it's really about, do we have the funding, which, as you know, we have the funding to support this, and also the team that's been put together. And so we have already approved an owner advisory and construction management services consultant, TTH, Townsend Turner and Townsend Heary, and they have experience in this, and they've helped us every step of the way putting the application together. So from everyone's perspective, we will not have a problem getting approval for application.
Commissioner Mejia.
I was gonna say, we already went through this process once with the courthouse, and we went through that. We received one public comment for that piece. But I don't
It's
expect.
being used more and more around,
Yeah,
like lots using it more, and I mean, other groups,
Intercity Transit used it
Yeah,
for theirs,
exactly.
so it's definitely a good use.
more and more
Yeah.
prevalent practice.
Under the right criteria.
Yes, and the right criteria can save time and money, and having the folks that are designing and building it, you have more synergy under the right criteria.
No surprises, less surprises, because they're working together from the get-go and understand those operational needs, which are, unique to keep a facility like that, continuing to operate during a construction
which is
project. Very significant.
I have a new appreciation for the work because I just finished an Olympia history book and learned that we used to just dump all of our trash in a pile on the mud flats right next to town, kind of where Capitol Lake is, for many, many years.
Interesting.
Before we actually got a more organized system for dealing with solid waste. So it's like the work is
Terrible.
It's an
good
impressive
facility.
facility,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I'm glad we're making the upgrades. Any other questions? Okay, next item is also Public Works, and it's the resolution to dedicate right-of-way for 56th Avenue into Thurston County road system.
All right, from exciting back to kind of boring. So Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners approve a resolution dedicating the right-of-way for 56th Avenue to Thurston County and accept it into the Thurston County road system. This portion of 56th Avenue extends between the intersection of Hill Street and Lacey City limits, which is, if you're looking at a map, is that you go to the top of Marvin Road, the very furthest north you go on Marvin Road and take a right. And if you continue to go before you take the sharp curve, that's 56th Avenue.
Northeast Lacey, basically.
Yep, it's behind, like another way of saying behind, on the backside of Jubilee. So it was constructed in 2017. This section of 56 was developed as part of a large lot subdivision. The road has been built to county standards and was inspected and approved by Thurston County. Typically, as part of a final acceptance of a plat, the Board of County Commissioners approves the right-of-way dedication. However, with a large lot, there isn't that opportunity for the board to provide that approval. So typically, we would come back to the Board of County Commissioners like I am today and request for your approval of the right-of-way dedication and to incorporate that roadway into our county road log. Obviously, this happened in 2017. It didn't happen, or the road was built in 2017, but this process never happened. So this is just going back, cleaning up, and make sure that 56th Avenue is correctly inputted into the county road log.
Questions for Matt? Okay, sounds straightforward. Let's go off to our last Public Works item, which is a write-off of 2025 uncollectible department accounts receivable.
Yes, this is another item we bring annually to the board in compliance with policy and procedure 3055, write-off of accounts receivable. We're requesting the board authorize the removal of solid waste utility accounts that have been determined uncollectible from our financial records. Public Works has a really structured and comprehensive collection process for our financial accounts, and that's evidenced by the really small amount that we are bringing today for total for approval. We are requesting a total of $2,185.03 in solid waste utility accounts be written off. And just for context, again, we bring in over $30 million in receipts for solid waste annually. So this is just an infinitesimal amount, honestly.
How much again?
$2,185.03. And we are additionally not bringing forward any water and sewer utility accounts because none have been deemed uncollectible. So that's significant. So I would be remiss if I didn't give the massive shout out to our financial team who's responsible for managing these finances, keeping up on collections, et cetera. So even though I'm bringing a write-off, I am proud to be bringing a $2,185 write-off to the board.
$30 million enterprise fund, all the work that it takes to dial that in, that is significant. So we join you with congratulating the hard work of your team behind the scenes.
Thank you.
Next up is Treasurer's Office, write-off of 2025 uncollectible personal property taxes, and we have Treasurer Gadman.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So this is one of two things I have to bring to you every February, the first one being that refund list that I brought you last week. This is a write-off of uncollectible personal property taxes, and this will actually require your approval, which is why it's on the consent agenda today. This consists of mobile homes that have either been destroyed or have deteriorated to the point where they have no economic value, and business accounts where the business closed and the assets have disappeared, or the incorporated business closed, or bankruptcy of a business and the assets have been liquidated other places. Property taxes are almost never awarded in bankruptcy cases. We're at the bottom of the priority list for getting people paid off. This list is a little bit bigger this year at 80,000. You'll notice the business accounts at 74,000. That's mostly due to 3 separate bankruptcies that total about 55,000 of that. The 2 Sports Authority stores that closed and filed bankruptcy in 2016, and then the Spring Air Mattress Company that filed bankruptcy in 2009. And their bankruptcies have finally been disposed of. So otherwise, the list is pretty normal looking.
Personal property, right?
Yeah.
Not real property. Questions on this item 14 for the treasurer? I think you're good.
All right, thank you all. Enjoy your day.
All right, we have a few reappointments or appointments. 15 is a reappointment to Capital Area Regional Public Facilities District Board of Directors, Chris Light. And 16, well, let's just start with that one.
This was, consent items 15, 16, and 17 are on the agenda based on
We
board
discussed
direction
last time, right?
last week or two.
Okay, so there should be no questions necessarily. Solid Waste is appointment by the City of Olympia, and they've got a new council member, so. And then Ron Jones as the alternate, Olympia. Okay, any questions from the board on 15, 16, 17? We'll go to voucher lists, which is 18 through 22. And then no questions there. We can move forward to item 6 under department, community planning, economic development, Puget Sound Salmon Recovery Grant, as promised. Ashley is back to tell us about this exciting award.
Yeah, the CPED team has been very proactive in going after salmon recovery planning grants. So these are 2 additional ones. The way grants work is we find out about the award usually 6 months before it actually comes to the board. So we were awarded these earlier in 2025. However, it takes us a while to figure out all the provisions of the grant agreement to move it forward for board approval. So in this case, for efficiency purposes, Commerce is bundling 2 grants that we have received out of their Puget Salmon Recovery Grant Fund. And they're both to support locally driven salmon recovery initiatives that are baked into our new comprehensive plan. One of those is gonna support our critical areas ordinance update, which is currently underway and with the Planning Commission for review. And this is looking at some real forward-thinking riparian zone management options for that critical areas ordinance update. And then a continuation of our integrated water initiative. The last funding round that we received from Department of Commerce for the integrated water initiative, they didn't even get us the grant award well, they only left us 2 months in the grant period with the grant award. And so we were able to continue it into a different biennium for state funding. And so that is going to continue through 2027, whereas before they were going to cut us off in July 2025. So exciting that we get to actually continue this work, and the RFQ will support it. So you've got about $600,000 in grant funding and about $350,000 that will be used for consultant support.
Can you talk a little more about the integrated water initiative? Like what will the public see in the future as a result of the work that we're doing here?
Yeah, I mean, so I'd say that we broke that particular grant into phases. Phase one being sort of an audit of all of the water resource management that we do here at the county, because it is spread out over multiple departments within the county. Then we're going to do a gaps analysis, looking at all of the work that we do. So first internal work, and then really looking across the landscape to what our partners do, and similarly a gaps analysis in terms of where there are gaps. And I think the Deschutes Watershed Council is one that at least the community keeps highlighting and that you're aware of. But it's sort of along those lines. And the thought is, and I think Commissioner Mejia, her idea is kind of baked in here, that there would be some kind of more public symposium where we get to share those findings with the broader community and our partners in water resource management, and sort of chart out the next steps, which would be a phase two.
Exactly where my question was headed, so.
Yeah, so I think, it was difficult for us to get both phases funded under one grant round, so we are gonna break it up. So we get to do some self-reflection, phase one, and then I think phase two is when we really start going out and trying to identify partnership opportunities for bigger scale projects that we might want to achieve regionally.
And when people in years past have talked about One Water, which means different things, I know, but one of the things it means that we were working on, this kind of is folded into that a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just so the public understands how this connects to things that I've talked about in the past,
Yes.
Commissioner Mejia, the county's talked about. We're still working through advancing that work. It may just have different terminology behind it or words around it, but we're still pursuing those goals, is what I'm trying to emphasize. That's correct.
Yep, that is correct. And I'll be sure to highlight that in the department item next week to sort of connect the dots there.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Mejia.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Menzer, for bringing that up. And I'm wondering, right, is there a way to promote this out into the community, right? As, I've been asked about like what is going on with this, and I think it's great that, we have been actively getting these grants and doing kind of that phase one, that introspection. I just think it's important to talk about it and say like, yes, we are doing this. We are, continue to work on. I know that at the very beginning we did, the League of Women Voters had a water forum, and we had our staff come in and present, and they did an amazing job. And wondering if it can be like, okay, like the work is still ongoing, year plus later, and this is kind of what we've done. We've gotten this other grant. This is the work that's going to continue as we proceed.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. I know that CPED has a great communications team. We can hook up with Susan, our county communications chief. And I do want to give a thanks and a special recognition to CPED. In an environment where we saw significant record level cuts, your tenacity to not take this off the table, but to continue to work it through, knowing that the county couldn't fund this work outright out of general fund dollars, and being committed to working with your group, which is extremely resourceful, to figure out how do we get grants to this so that we can continue this important conversation. I think it's a great example when the board sets clear vision and direction, gives staff and the county manager that direction, we can start to work. It may not always be the first version of what we think can happen, but they continue to work it through to come up with something. And like you said, a year later, they're still moving forward and securing funding for it, which is substantial.
I think the communication at this point is that we have that $600,000 grant outside of the general fund or the county money to lay the groundwork. That's really where we are right now. But getting our arms around what we have internally, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, otherwise we're gonna be out on a limb. So it's amazing to have the work funded to do that internal introspection so that we can communicate that to the community. So it's really well done.
Yeah, and in that intervening year, I think an important piece of that story is that we took a lot of the League of Women Voter recommendations, and they're reflected in the new comprehensive plan and that vision for the community. So we can we didn't necessarily sit on our laurels during that year. I was like, well, what can we do? Well, we were working on this big policy document. Let's see how we can integrate this and support going after funding into the future, so.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia, for your leadership on that, because I remember that this
Oh,
is.
that was on my whiteboard too.
Yeah.
Integrated
Crossing
water.
things off there.
Public Health and Social Services is up within contract with Homes First for affordable rental housing preservation.
Thank you again, Jen Freiheit, Director of Public Health and Social Services. So this is to approve 2 contracts with Homes First, yes, for the total amount of $750,000 for preservation of affordable rental housing. Homes First applied to Thurston County's Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention's request for proposals for affordable housing capital projects in February 2025. Homes First application included a proposal to complete repairs on 16 units. However, they have just submitted a new budget, and it's only for 14 houses that they own and operate as affordable rental housing, located at various locations in Olympia and Lacey. And the type of repairs would include siding installation, roof and window replacements, furnace replacements, property repipes, and electrical upgrades. And the repairs are needed to ensure the homes remain in safe living condition and can remain affordable to individuals below the 60% AMI. And the Board of County Commissioners approved the preliminary funding award for this project at the June 17, 2025 meeting. And $582,416 of this funding is to support this project will come from the HB 1406 fund, which is generated from a local sales and use tax. And the remaining $167,584 will come from SB 5386, a local document recording fee. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Item 7. Hearing none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Public Works, 2 department items, resolution for temporary closure of Little Rock Road Southwest at the crossing of Blooms Ditch.
Back again. Matt Huntsman, Thurston County Engineer. This one should sound very familiar to you because you actually approved this last year. But because of the fish window that was in the included in the Little Rock Construction Road project in combination with the long lead time for bridge girders, because we're replacing the L5 bridge, we're not able to do construction last year. So the window that we gave you for the road closure window since expired, and that's why I'm back today requesting that you approve the county engineer to close the road, Little Rock Road, for 16 consecutive weeks between June 15th and October 3rd. A detour route will be in place the entire time. This will be the same detour route that was used in, don't quote me the year, but 2014, I think, when we built the Salmon Creek Bridge, which is the next bridge north on Little Rock Road, which failed during a storm event. So traffic should be familiar with this detour route. We have a very detailed communication plan where we're going to be outreaching the community, emergency services. We're posting the updates on our website. With that, be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Matt on this? Thumbs up from Commissioner Fournier. I don't hear any questions. So let's go to the next item, which is a resolution to apply for a grant from PSAR, which is Puget Sound Acquisition and Recreation, a restoration program for Green Cove Creek Fish Barrier Removal Phase 2.
I saw your look.
Getting really closer and closer to my house in this one.
So Public Works is requesting for the Board of County Commissioners approve a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to approve a $9.3 million grant application for a fish barrier removal at 36th Avenue on Green Cove Creek from the Puget Sound Acquisition and Restoration Program, which is administered through the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office, aka RCO. This culvert has been assessed and identified for replacement under the Fish Passage Enhancement Program. Phase 1 of the work was completed last summer, which included the installation of a bridge. Part of the federal funding that we received for that project that we completed last year included $500,000 to do a pre-design for alternatives at the 36th Avenue crossing and the Kaiser Road crossing, which are the next two upstream crossings from the crossing that we improved last summer. The pre-design study for 36th Avenue has identified the preferred alternative as being a bridge. So it'll be a very large bridge, probably similar to what we, maybe not quite that big, but it'll be similar to what we did last summer. The RCO requires us to provide a resolution that's approved by the Board of County Commissioners saying, hey, we support Public Works in applying for this project. That's just the requirement they have with their grant applications. The grant would be for 100% of the final design, right-of-way, and construction for the project at 36th Avenue. Once this barrier is removed, it would open an additional 3/4 of a mile of fish habitat for spawning and rearing habitat.
So is 36th is phase 2?
36 is phase 2.
Kaiser is phase 3?
That would be phase 3.
What, and do you know what kind of, like, what will happen at Kaiser? Like in terms of what method of passage?
So I have not seen the
'Cause that's not really a bridge, I wouldn't think.
I don't know. I would be speaking out of turn because I have not we actually haven't even received that alternative analysis back from the consultant.
Just curious.
So it's unclear at this time.
It's unclear at this time. Gotta get phase 2 and then we'll knock phase 3 out.
Yeah, the Kaiser, I'm on that every day. That'd be interesting to see.
And the department submitted a nice vicinity map that shows the 3 projects as well, so you can see the locations, if, for those that are visual.
All right. Any questions on this one? Yes, apply for that grant. It's gonna be good. All right, hopefully we get it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment related to general matters, community reports from commissioners, and then 2 public hearings. The first one is the home energy score. Proposed ordinance for residential energy performance rating and disclosure policy. And we do expect probably significant comment on that. And then a second one is proposed ordinances for precinct boundary changes and commissioner district legal descriptions. Commissioners have had work session on that, both of them, but we don't typically get comment much on the, but we're gonna handle them in this order based on the understanding that we expect to have more public comment for the first item. Okay. So some talk amongst commissioners about which order would be best, but I think we're gonna stick with what we've got. All right, so any questions from the board on the rest of this agenda? All right, let's go to our next item for the morning work session, which is advisory boards.
Thank you, Commissioners. We have 3 items today, the first being the Agritourism Advisory Committee. One application has been received from Mitch Lewis for reappointment, and the committee recommends he be reappointed for another term. Any questions?
No, keep on going.
Second item is for the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees. This is a Lewis County appointment. And as you know, appointments to TRL must be reaffirmed by the legislative jurisdictions from Grays Harbor, Lewis, Mason, Pacific, and Thurston counties. So this would be affirming their reappointment of Mr. Hal Blanton. Any questions?
No, they need to fill this one because of they're at bare minimum for quota,
That's right.
or for quorum, I should say, and this is a reappointment was supported by the
Yes.
commissioners as well as I think the director, so I would support moving that forward quickly.
Thumbs up, me too.
Same.
Yeah, same.
Okay. What's up next then?
The last item is for the Veterans Advisory Board. This is being brought back from last week. One application was received from Nanette Arce. There are currently 3 vacancies, and so the BAB recommends that she be reappointed, appointed to a vacant seat.
Okay.
Are there any questions on the first?
I'm good with all those.
I'm good too.
Commissioner Klaus has her hand.
Commissioner Klaus, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good with these ones. I appreciate the extra time on the Veterans Advisory Board. I had a chance to look and it looks good.
So everybody is in agreement to put them all forward.
Wonderful. They'll all be added to the February 17th agenda.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the budget calendar.
Thank you so much, Chair. Unfortunately, our budget and fiscal manager, Summer Miller, had a family emergency and wasn't able to be here today, but as is included in your packet, this is a standard process we follow when we set the budget calendar. Here it's laid out before you, and there's a proposed motion for the board for their consideration.
Any questions for County Manager on this calendar? Commissioner Mejia.
Chair, I would move to approve the 2026 budget calendar and authorize the county manager to adjust the calendar as necessary and inform the board of changes as they occur.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. I'll jump in and say that if this doesn't set anything in concrete that can be modified as what happened last year.
Correct.
So it's really just kind of setting a preliminary framework.
Yeah, it's a good organizational guide to show when we have to get stuff done, but like we did last year, there was flexibility to adjust things as we had to have certain conversations.
Any other discussion on the motion to approve the budget calendar? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion carries unanimously. All right, let's go to item 5, federal legislative priorities.
Thanks so much, Chair. As requested by the board, there was a conversation, I think now a couple of months ago, about some of the priorities for the county. And so we took some notes, jotted it down. We have actually 2 versions. One was a first draft where we just got the topics down. And then we looked at the second draft, we're gonna work with Susan so that it looks a little bit more Thurston County specific, and I love some of the imagery that was proposed. And then we took some of the language and altered it a bit so that it was more reflective of what we were hearing from our delegation, as some of these priorities are important and sensitive, but they have to be framed in a way that's gonna be beneficial to moving some of them forward. And so really what we're looking for today is just a thumbs up from the board that these are the categories that you want us to focus on, and then we will work to dial in some of the language and ultimately the graphics and go to a more county-focused presentation like the second version that you have, which was sent out yesterday.
Any comments or questions on the priorities? I like the second layout in terms of being, at least the format of being very specific about what we're asking for.
Yeah, and one of these photos are photos from each of the 5 different districts here. And so it's, I think it's a great representation of the county as a whole.
To the fairgrounds, number 5, I'm trying to look at the last one.
Yep.
All right. Well, I like my picture, so thank you. All right, so do we need to, there's a proposed motion, and that's to approve are we approving the topics or the form, not the format of the document?
Not the format of the document, but just the topics so that we can continue to dial it in. And really working with several of you have great relationships with our delegation and are in communication with them about how to position these priorities so that they stand the best chance of getting traction and approval, especially if they're gonna deal with the funding requests. So we'll continue to work that through.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the legislative priorities. Is there a discussion? Okay, hearing now, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item 6 is a commissioner item section where item 1 under that is letter of support regarding DNR parcel.
Clerk, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, this letter was approved by the board last week, 2 weeks ago now, and was sent to Senator Bateman. And there's been a request to just address the letter to a couple additional representatives. And so we are back for your approval to do so with your electronic signatures on the letter.
Commissioner Mejia, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, this is just, it's the same content of the letter that got sent over to Senator Bateman. We just wanted to be sure that if we were to send it to other representatives, that the board was aware and that they approved of it being sent. Since the other motion
Move
was here.
approve.
We have a motion to approve the additional representatives to be included. Is there a second?
And Commissioner Grant give a hit, thumbs up.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Grant seconds. This is specifically to Parsley and Barkus. And electronic signatures will be utilized per this motion. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so in order to clear tomorrow, I'm glad Commissioner Grant's gonna be able to take advantage of it. There's there really wasn't anything substantive on the agenda, so we're moving the committee report outs to today, so we can cover that and not have to have a work session tomorrow that's not really necessary. So are there any commissioners that have reports on external committees that they'd like to share? Go ahead, Commissioner.
It's okay if I go. I just wanted to report out. So the opioid group met. I can't think of what we actually call ourselves, but I just wanted to let everyone know that there's going to be a dashboard, a new dashboard. I mean, it's not we haven't really done much yet, but work is starting on getting the opioid dollars figured out, and we're just. The one thing that I want to mention is, we're just trying to get the ILA in place. As soon as we can get the ILA in place with all the jurisdictions, then we can get the money out the door. And I think we all agreed in that meeting that we are going to, I'm not sure exactly who the hang up is or which jurisdiction hasn't signed yet, but we definitely would all agree that, we want to prioritize getting that done, and so that we can start getting an RFP out for people to actually use the money. So just wanted to mention that. And then the other thing I went to is the fair board. And I'm just looking at my notes, sorry. Not a ton. For as far as the fairs going, I mean, there's lots of work going on, but there's lots of work happening all across at Heritage Hall, and they're doing staining and sealing and putting some new logs. And one of the things I know why. So one of the cool things about the fair board was that they've were able to get new logs to fix Heritage Hall for like $20 a piece or something like that. And it was this really big, important thing that somebody, they just happened to find somebody who has those specific logs. And so the Fair Foundation and the people who are working on the Fair Foundation who do such a great job. I just wanted to give a shout out to them for working really hard to find a way to get some reclaimed logs and to get that together. So those are my report outs.
Josh, you had something on Commissioner Grant's point item.
I did. On the Opioid Abatement Council, the ILA, what we understand is Katie Strozik in Public Health has done a great job getting that ILA together. It was sent to the participating cities on November 12th, 2025. There was some questions from the cities on administrative costs. Those were answered. And then currently what we understand is the ILA is residing with legal counsel of the different participating municipalities. So we hope to have that back, and as soon as we do, we'll continue to move forward. So great work from Katie Strozik on the OAC leadership there from Public Health. Thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner.
Yeah, I've been really curious, so thank you, Commissioner Grant. That's a good report. Commissioner Klaus, your hand's up.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one quick update from the Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting last week. The items today on the agenda kind of reflect most of what I was going to report out on, but I wanted to share with the board that we're getting ready to kick off the Solid Waste Management Plan project. And one decision that was made is that the Solid Waste Management Plan and the Hazardous Waste Management Plan will be combined into a single integrated plan. The goal is to fold it into the upcoming solid waste plan so that both plans run on the same timeline and update cycle. And this will make the planning more efficient, reduce the duplicated work, and streamline coordination with cities and the Department of Ecology. It turns out, I thought it was interesting that only 2 jurisdictions in the state actually separate these plans. So by having them together, it'll be just a lot more streamlined for Thurston County. And that's the only update I have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Commissioner Fournier, anything?
No, I don't have anything at this time.
Commissioner Mejia?
Thank you. I have 2 major updates. First, the Washington State Association of Counties Board of Directors meeting happened last week. And so with that, the items I'll report on is we had a presentation from Alliant, which is who WASAC has decided to partner contract with in terms of forming an insurance pool, a health insurance pool. And so they kind of shared a presentation. They are hoping, I thought it was aggressive. They think that it's plenty of time. And they were like, oh, you know, this seems like a lot of time. But for me, it seemed approaching fairly quickly. They want to transition basically and start getting counties to transition into that this year. And so they will be reaching out. One of the conversations was getting basically people like Tara to join in on those conversations, for them to have this meeting to see basically what, you know, to see all the plans. They have a partnership with an array of health care providers, and so it seemed like counties would have more options. And, you know, what they're saying is for counties like our size, there would be cost savings, but of course, we would still have to see how many, you know, counties joined in, how big the counties were, because of course it's not about how many counties joined, but how many users of the insurance are actually joining in. So, you know, there's, once we get an invite for that, I'll be passing it along to staff so they're kind of updated, but it's very interesting. And this is, I think, just an option that WASAC is looking at as a range of revenue that they're trying to bring into WASAC instead of being so dues dependent. Yeah, and it's something that they've been kind of talking about, but it looks like it's something that they will be moving forward with and offering to counties. So it's going to be interesting, I feel, and it will be good for us to have that information. So that was the major update with WASAC.
Can I add something on that?
Yeah.
I just want everyone to.
You serve on the insurance.
I want everybody to be aware, like, until I get alternative guidance from legal counsel, I'm recusing myself because I'm on the board of the insurance fund that we're part of. I'm also on the board of WASAC that's putting together this alternative pool, and they're kind of in conflict. So I'm allowed to listen to the public meeting, but when it comes to decision making or any executive sessions, I'm recusing myself. And so just so you know, I mean, if the county, I don't know how else to handle it.
I think we definitely have to do some analysis to see if it would make sense for Thurston County, just in terms of buying power. And I think it's quite aggressive to say that we would be transitioning into that this year without having any of the details.
Yeah, that was my comments. I was very, I was like, it seems that the timeline of it for 2026, it makes me nervous, but from what I've heard is they've already started doing outreach with different counties. I'm not sure if Thurston County is one of them. And they have gotten pretty good feedback. Again, it's not like WASAC. WASAC is just kind of, I think, the body, but it's gonna be through Alliant.
Ty, is this the same thing that you passed on to me like last year sometime?
My first meeting was, I want to say June or something of last year, spring or early summer, and I was my first meeting for, actually it was June, because I missed the first, I was appointed to it in January after, and then I had to miss like the March meeting, so my first meeting was like June, and I'm hearing about all this for the first time, and I was just like, I think I need to leave the room.
Oh, no, I'm talking about sometime, oh, we can talk offline.
Yeah, offline. I can say that like the counties that are in the WISF, they call it, Washington County Insurance Fund or whatever, they're more just like, we're already doing something that kind of is like pooling entities and trying to cut costs. And it's not just counties, it's also like transit agencies and school districts and stuff.
And it's not all counties either.
And it's a smallish group, but like it's already an effort to do what WASAC's trying to do. So the counties that are in that are kind of like, maybe if it save us money, but whatever. I mean, we're already, there are other counties that are like, don't have anything and they're really hurting. So I mean, I understand why like there could be a benefit to counties that aren't in a pool like we're in. And then WASAC's obviously from its own, as Commissioner Mejia said, is trying to come up with ways to serve the counties, all the counties, and potentially create a revenue stream for the county association. So there's value. So there's kind of two values, but we're in that kind of third category of like, well, maybe this will help us, maybe it won't. Like we have to look at it, as Jennifer said, because we're already kind of doing what they're trying to pull together. Obviously, it would be a different pool of counties and it would be a different organization running it. So maybe there would be value to us or whatever, but that's something that I think staff need to look at and advise the board, and I might recuse myself from those conversations.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not violating any duties that I have as a board member of the insurance pool.
Sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of, what I learned from the WISIP meeting is there's a lot of counties out there that, like one of them is, I want to say Whitman, that's the one that's got Pullman, like they're like partnering with the university or something. I mean, different counties are doing different stuff where they're just trying to like find some way to control costs.
Whitman is with Teamsters. They
Okay, there you go,
talked
yeah.
about that, yeah.
Yeah, so I was remembering they had an unusual relationship, and then other counties are just totally doing their own thing, and I mean, it's a grab bag of situations that Washington counties are in with this health insurance. And everybody's getting hammered, obviously, but with tough budgets and stuff.
Yeah. To Jennifer's point, it's a pretty intense process to evaluate that. And it is the same thing that you flagged for me probably in 2024. And I did talk to Maria and Tara at the time. We had done years previous a bid, and it actually showed that it did not save money for our county size and population. But
there was something I remember flagging for you that they said, oh, we can do, that was something WISIF was gonna do, like we can do this other analysis for you, and we did it for Thurston County and you guys didn't act on it, and I just didn't know much about it.
Right, so we got to a point where we were asking them, you already did an analysis for us, give us that old analysis, and they never got back to us. So I left the ball in their court. Yeah, so we could walk that through if needed, but it'll be a undertaking for sure.
Yeah, and I think, but placing, I think, not so much on us, but on them, as they're the ones who are trying to
But
create this.
what they will do is they'll come in and say, we need to sit with your team and get all of your demographic information, and it'll be, that's where the workload is significant.
This Alliant group.
And I would say, no, you need to do a survey and give us, like, I agree, put it on them to do the work, because I don't want to have, our team to have to bend over backwards to give them business. It would just be a weird proposition. Like, come in and show us the benefit that you can provide. So interested to have that conversation with them.
Okay, well, I don't really have any, oh, you have another one.
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead,
sorry,
Christine,
this
yeah.
was a big one. And then the next one is Legislative Steering Committee. We want to report on a couple of bills that LSC had a discussion on. The first one is Senate Bill 5633, which is a subdivision reform. With that, basically, 1 second. I'm getting there. This is in regards to chapter 58.17 of the RCW, which governs the division of land in Washington state and establishes the legal framework for creating subdivisions. And the statute's stated purpose is to regulate the division of land in order to promote public health, safety, and general welfare, and ensure that land divisions are consistent with adopted comprehensive plans and development regulations. So the change that this bill is seeking for is basically it would change the subdivision review framework established by that chapter. Most notably, the bill would eliminate the statutory distinction and review process between short subdivisions and subdivisions within the urban growth areas. Basically, it would require that all subdivisions within the urban growth areas, regardless of size, be approved through a purely administrative process, while retaining the current distinction between subdivision and short subdivisions and unincorporated areas of the UGA. So while the substitute includes many additional technical changes, the most significant policy change is the removal of public hearings from the long plat approval process within a UGA. And so there was a lot of discussion on this. Staff at WASAC have been working with different stakeholder groups, and they've been doing a lot of outreach on this. And so based on their recommendations, counties expressed a lot of different views on this change, with some counties expressing strong support in line with the arguments from the bill's advocates, and counties have also expressed concerns that do not necessarily dispute this characterization of subdivision law, but emphasize that public hearings for long plats serve broader purposes related to transparency, public trust, and accountability. So at this time, the approval of the LSC board was to take the staff's recommendation that the Legislative Steering Committee take a position of other, so basically a neutral position on Senate Bill 5633, while continuing to express technical concerns with the bill. So, this position acknowledges, I think, the extensive stakeholder work that's been completed today, but allow WASAC to remain engaged in ongoing negotiations. And then while also continuing to represent the diversity of county perspectives in regard to the public hearing portion of this bill. So there was a lot of discussion. We heard a lot of different opinions on this item, but the LSC board was supportive of maintaining that other position. So
It's a big bill.
yeah, so just wanted to give the board a heads up about that, just because it is something that, there was a lot of discussion at. And then another one that came up is the motor vehicle fuel tax calculation error remedy. And this was a whole, very strong feelings about this item. And so, for background, in 2024, the CRAB reached out and engaged the state treasurer's office regarding the calculated methodology for the motor vehicle fuel tax funds that are distributed to the counties for maintenance, preservation, improvement, and administration for the county road system. Of specific concerns was the amount being withheld from counties and deposited in the Puget Sound Ferry operations account. And then after discussion and review, the state treasurer's office agreed with Crabb's analysis that taking the funds for the ferry account from the county portion of the fuel tax was an error. So basically what's supposed to happen, it's supposed to come off the state portion, but instead how they were calculating, they were taking it out the county portion. So they were able to go back a couple of years, but basically they went back, I think in 2000 until 2006, which means that counties lost roughly $110 million in revenue. For Thurston County, that means we lost around 3.8 million, around that, for our county road fund. So, of course, when it comes down to it, right, there is a rub between the legislator and the counties, because counties believe, right, that that money was taken away and needs to be refunded back. The state has now corrected the error going forward. But, you know, they're like, okay, we fixed the error, we're good to go. But counties feel that we need to be refunded basically all that funding that we haven't gotten. And this is just like basically for the 18 years since 2006. We're not going further than that for basically since, you know, this whole thing started. We're just doing the initial 18 years that, you know, we have it very clearly recorded. And so basically we're kind of at the state. There was discussion on how we move forward with the state and on these remedies. Staff presented two remedies, which was basically to amend the RCW, which would increase the direct distribution of motor vehicle fuel tax for counties, basically making counties whole. And then the second piece of that was to fully fund the County Road Administration Board's local road program at $40 million, and then through a biennium through 2032, and then providing a baseline level of local road program funding utilizing a distribution percentage formula equal to the revenue counties lost. There was a lot of very strong feelings. Counties, of course, feel that we should be reimbursed immediately for that and go with option one. But with option two, it would allow, I guess, the state flexibility. Counties felt that through CRAB, they wouldn't have that flexibility to kind of, you know, they were like, we would have to basically apply to CRAB. They would give a larger grant program. And so counties felt that the counties wouldn't have the flexibility to decide which program. There was a lot of back and forth about option number two, where counties felt that there were strong feelings that the state wouldn't give us the same flexibility if it was us owing them money. And so, you know, we, at the end, it was decided that we were going to proceed with option one as a main one, with that second option as a really like just baseline thing that if the state had no other way, then we could continue with option two.
Option one, remind me, where's the money coming from? You said motor.
Yeah, so we would get reimbursed from the motor vehicle fuel tax. So.
And so what is the likelihood of how this gets decided in the legislative session, or is it some other negotiation that goes on and on?
It's been an ongoing negotiation right now with the transportation committees, and seeing kind of where this funding is going to come from, and how it's going to be funded. The legislator doesn't lean towards just cutting counties a check. And so I think that's why the second proposal was put forward, even though it's not them just giving, they're just reimbursing us back for money that, you know, does belong to counties. And so, yeah, it's just ongoing conversations. I know that EXO has been very engaged with Senator Elias, as well as other groups. I know other groups have been very engaged on this item, trying to get that funding back.
Okay, any other questions for Commissioner Mejia?
I have one more, I'm sorry. And just as a heads up, LSC is having a special meeting this week in regards to 6346, which is gotten the name of the millionaire's tax. But we are having ongoing discussions with the state on this. I've met with a couple of senators to discuss this. And this is in regards to kind of what we're discussing on this is the state to county distribution piece. And so far they wrote in 5% that could be used for public defense funding. The counties are negotiating, basically wanting up to 10%. The cities are also negotiating kind of the same cutoff. So right now we are just discussing the intricacies of the distribution. And we are talking also about what the formula would be to be distributed among counties. And that's kind of a very touchy point, because how the formula is written right now, King County would get, of course, the biggest piece. I think they would get around 87 million. And so kind of what we're discussing with the state would be a more equitable formula that WASAC has drafted up. That way counties, you know, that are kind of struggling to hire public defenders, or it would be distributed more equitably around for all counties. And so we are continuing to have those conversations. King County doesn't really like the formula that WASAC has come up with. But I think the rest of the counties feel that it is definitely more equitable to kind of spread that limited funding across more evenly, while also meeting the needs of the bigger counties, medium-sized counties, and small counties.
You also told me yesterday that the cities are getting 10%.
The cities at this point, last I heard, is that there has been agreement that they would be getting that 10%. Yeah.
Split among
the cities, yeah. I'm not sure the formula that they will be using.
It looks like from Deb's report that the governor's still looking at it and saying there's more work to be done. So that's like tier 2 in terms of percentage, but the governor is saying he wants to see more relief.
Yeah, I was in a phone meeting with the governor a couple weekends ago, or Sunday. I lost track of time, but it was, his plan for that money was very different than legislatures, and he was sounding very strong about his feelings about that, and I mean, I don't know exactly who's got the final authority to lay it out, but I mean, he was gonna take a very strong position that most of the money should go back into people's pockets, basically through an expansion, several different expansions of the working families tax credit and a small business tax cut. But he was saying the legislature is gonna wanna spend the money on programs and cuts and things that, you know, all the different needs there are. And that's gonna be a point of debate, so that's playing out now.
It is definitely playing out now. So that's going to be on Thursday. So just wanted to give the board a heads up about that one coming up. That is it.
Okay, I don't really have any big report. I was in wastewater on behalf of law. I was at the National Association of Clean Water Agencies conference last week, and there was a lot of good information there. There's also a lot of good networking that, like Puget Sound always shows up big in that conference, so it's where I really get to meet King County's leaders, Tacoma's leaders, Pierce County's leaders, Seattle, and we have a lot of discussions about Puget Sound wide water quality issues. So that's one of the other really good things about it. So anyway, it was a good conference, and yeah, got to eat at Bad Bunny's restaurant, which was kind of cool.
That lot received?
Lot won an award for its workforce program.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a national environmental award. We aggressively try to apply for those because it looks, you know, it showcases what we do well here, and we're able to win another one. Not quite as many as, it was a joke, there's a place in Virginia that's very famous, Hampton Road. They deal with like Chesapeake Bay and stuff, which has really had a lot of water quality issues over the years, but they won a whole bunch. The awards are heavy. Every time you go home with one, they're always the same. They're these like glass like drops, and the TSA always flags you because it looks like a weapon. And like they won like 7 of them, so I don't know how the heck they got those back to Virginia, but anyway, it was good.
Matt does a good job, executive director of LOT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for good of the order before we adjourn? All right, thanks, commissioners. We'll our next session's next week.
Next week, there's Board of Health this afternoon.
Board of Health. Okay, very good. We're adjourned.